Alright, so let's just talk about the problem and the output first. What is our population?
The men that agreed to participate.
The men that agreed to participate in the study. It's kind of vague outside of that. What is which one is our X? Waist size, how do I know that?
It's on the bottom.
Because it's written right here. Tell me what this means. I know it's not one of the problems. Of the variation in percent body fat can be explained by the least square regression line of percent body fat on waist size. What is this?
S.
Which is the what?
Standard
Of the
residual.
Standard deviation of the residual. So that's the average distance that what?
The residual
That are observed are predicted. Line 1 to the right, line 2 to the right. Which one do I not use?
1.
On 1, because we don't do anything with test for y-intercept. We only use that line for 2. Because this number is this, and this number is this kind of number, what kind of relationship actually is there between these two variables?
Positive.
There's a strong positive relationship between these. We don't know strong or not. That's a really big number when I do beta minus divided by standard deviation. Give my test statistic. Alright, so actually answering the questions, and I'm choosing to take the time to go over this problem on purpose. A lot of you are missing some pieces that I want tomorrow. So, which number is the slope? 1.7. So, if you don't know that by now, then you're definitely behind. Interpreting slope. What do I start with? What's the way I usually say it? 1 increase in. I think that's a good way to explain it, but I don't know if that's the best way to always word it. What one are we doing? Increasing 1 what? This is missing from a lot of people, and I can tell that already based off of the quiz that I graded. So I'm having you switch with people so that you're writing these pieces that are missing. So for this is where I think it makes more sense to say 1 inch increase in instead of increase in 1 inch in this situation, but I don't care. For every increase in 1 inch, what? And then what? So you have to say we predict, not it's going to happen. Another place that people are forgetting to write things. What variable are we predicting? And if you just said body fat, that's fine if you wrote percent later. What are we predicting the percent body fat to do? What word has to be here? That's another word that's missing a lot. And then what? Those are probably the 4 most common issues for this problem, which seem little, but I want to make sure that we get those fixed today, not after the test. What is the y-intercept in this problem? So, oh wait, I didn't finish this one. This should actually finish with what? Or agreeing to that participated in the study. That's another biggie that I don't think I counted off for that part on the quiz, but I will tomorrow. This is one where what should
Wait, tomorrow?
yeah, whichever class you're. I have one class is taken tomorrow, one class is taken Thursday. What's the beginning of this supposed to be? Generic, not specific to this problem. Okay, tell me what it's supposed to be specific to this problem. Wait, no, if what? So this part, people were just really going off the wall with and saying something like, is that the way I'm supposed to interpret this? And I got a lot of that on the quiz, and I don't remember if I counted off for that part or not. It is not every single man. It is if it's an individual in the population. If one of the individuals in the population had what?
A waist size of 0 inches.
Inches was missed a lot again there. And then what? So same issues again, percent. So have your units with your x-axis or your x variable and your y variable. The word predict, the word about, and for some reason it was butchered more here that you weren't talking about it as a whole population or as an individual. And so why did I not have to write this at the end? Because I mentioned at the beginning. So this last part, maybe half of you got this right. And it should be the easiest problem on the test because you didn't do what you're supposed to do. Well, the equation starts with y hat. If you forgot that part at this point, you're way behind. Or just forgot in what you were doing right now. I don't think anybody missed that on the quiz. The equation itself is what? Am I done? No. And that's where most people messed up. What do I absolutely have to do every single time I write the equation? Define your variables. So x is what? And then because it is y hat, I have to define y hat. And I define y hat starting with what word? Predicted. And it is predicted. Should I have a units there? Yes, but because I said the word percent, my units is kind of in that. If you would rather do that to kind of overkill.
Do we need to say like for all men in the study?
So you would have written population somewhere else. And anytime I ask you, and if you wrote X and Y somewhere randomly on your paper, that would still count here, but a lot of people did not. So these were common mistakes that I saw in the quiz. So I'm making a point to point them out. You can go ahead and give your papers back. So that these are not mistakes that are made again tomorrow. I'm choosing to do this on purpose. And I've talked about this a little bit. There should be things that you know are going to be free response. What are things that you know are going to be free response?
a line of best fit problem with transforming, which you can have one that stops the way it's given. You can have one that you transform once, and you can have one that you transform twice. But I've already talked about if I give you one on the test, I'm probably going to give you one that does what? Goes all the way through. What's the next thing that you know is going to be on the test? 4-step. You just don't know if it is. Test or interval. And the third generic thing, to some extent, is going to be what? Of free response. Interpret stuff like what we just went over. And now that doesn't mean it's going to be those two questions exactly, but some type of interpret